Welcome to episode 149 of the Eavesdrop podcast. This episode is brought to you by Dadgrass, and I'll tell you a little bit more about them later on in the podcast. Dashy getting dropped, replaced with Hook. That's the first topic. That's how Matt wanted to start this. He just wanted to throw you into the fire
right away.
Didn't give a fuck.
It's like no warm up, nothing.
No warm up. Let's not go down that route. And how are you, man? When was the last time that you and I did a podcast? Is it up there? Matt usually puts
Eavesdrop?
It up there. Yeah.
I mean, we've done a lot of
optics.
Yeah. But Eavesdrop, that was the first time we came back in Cold War. So 2 years ago.
Jesus Christ! So we got a lot to catch up on.
So then, I did one in BO4, and then did one in Cold War. This is my third one.
Yeah.
So I might be the first one that's ever done 3, right?
Yeah.
Or am I just making that up?
No, I don't know. Who's has more, Matt? Do you know? Do you have 2?
I know Matt has at least 2. Matt's got 2.
Almost got 2.
Seth has how many?
Seth has
at least one. Right?
We haven't done ever a catch up with Seth, right? Anyway, how have you been? Like health wise, mental wise, like how's the last couple of years been for you, man? How have you grown?
Last couple of years have been. I mean, it's always fun. I mean, being an OpTic, everyone here gets. I mean, you know how it is. It's like everyone here is just super good friends with each other. We all treat each other like family. Everyone's always just keen for a good time. But I mean, these past couple of weeks, it's been like a roller coaster, to be honest. With just obviously with me initially getting benched and then me coming back to the team, but at the expense of Seth retiring, it felt like a movie, honestly, of just different emotions. And I don't know. I'm just honestly, at the end of the day, I'm glad that I'm back on the team. I'm back starting, and I'm just hoping we're good now. Smooth sailing. I hope we're smooth sailing now.
Every single time that this shit happens, and no matter who it is, when it was our time to drop Crim, when it was our time to drop Clay, our time to drop, I mean, you name it, like even Formal, separating from Formal was like really tough
that was actually hard.
Yeah, it was tough. It was definitely hard, man. It was tough on me because I make friends with everyone, and your performances out there like don't affect the way that I feel about you guys, and don't affect the friendship that we have. And it could, right? Because like I get blamed whenever you guys lose. I'm not even out there playing. Like, what the fuck could I do?
Like, yeah, what the fuck you doing?
You're too easy on them. You don't let them put the content. Content gets in the fucking shut the front door. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, it's not. It's not even that. Your mom and dad are probably watching this. So hello.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Everyone. They're cool. Your mom texts me as during the watch parties, like on the side, and I'm like, I see them, and I'm like, I'll try to, but most of the time I'm just like, I gotta do the show.
You gotta lock in.
Sorry. I have to lock in. I can't be texting back and forth. But shout out to the hotels. When this whole thing was happening, and I'll tell you what happened from my perspective, right? Like obviously they had their their things that they wanted to say. Some of the stuff was I think it was one particular instance in which you didn't show up to content that Shotzi showed up to, and he was like, where the fuck is this guy? Like, I'm hearing content and blah, blah. But, what people fail to see is that these instances, although in this case scenario, they led to something, like these are something that we deal with this on a regular basis. This isn't something that is new. Like people being late to content, people not showing up to content.
It's a staple.
It's an OpTic staple, and it pisses me off for sure. But at the same time, it's like
it's different suspects every time too.
It's not an egregious thing where I'm just like he's fucking gone. I'm sick of that shit.
Yeah.
But these team decisions are made by the players. It wasn't until this instant that I said,
"You're like, yo, hold up, like
time out."
That right there is we call tippable.
Yeah, but it sucked, man, because like you are an OpTic franchise player, right? But that comes with a lot of responsibility.
Great power comes great responsibility.
Great power comes great responsibility. The love of the crowd comes with great responsibility, right? Like OpTic got to where OpTic is by creating the content that we create on top of doing the work that we do. To put it into perspective, like I am not immune to it. I have my job as CEO, every fucking meeting with every employee when it needs to, looking at budgets, looking at spreadsheets, looking at contracts, reading the contracts,
You're grinding.
looking at the deliverables for a sponsor, seeing whether or not they fit into the...
You're doing the content too.
And then, like you guys, I also do the content. And I wish that I had more time to do more content, my vlog obviously being one of the things. And I go on little spurts where I'll upload for like 4 days, and then all of a sudden I'll get fucking busy again. And it's just a boring day to bring people along. Not saying that people out there wouldn't enjoy my meetings, but I spare everybody the case. So where we were going with that thought is that, you know, you being an OpTic comes with the responsibility that you have to almost double serve, right? You have to perform, and also you have to be on camera so you can be more approachable.
But you can't want the benefits and the good sides of being on OpTic, which comes with, you know what I mean, like the extra support, you know, the following, just the extra stuff that everyone wants from the scene, and then not take the bad stuff with it. You know what I mean? You got to take the good with the bad, and the bad stuff isn't really that bad. It's
I was going to say, what are you talking about? It's the fun part.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But it's just like, some people look at it like it's bad, but it's kind of just whatever. But
the other thing is like, you guys get to go home for like 2 weeks here and there, so it's like you do get your sort of reset time in which you can.
Oh yeah, you can reset for sure.
Yeah. All right, so let's. I guess we can start with the conversations that we were having. And I want to talk about Ray later on, because I don't want there to be any, like, he wears a chain, you have a chain. There's something meaningful there, and the amount of videos that come out, like, over, like, you know, obviously Krim had his things to say about Ray, and him also missing practice, and you know we'll get to that, but you know some of the stuff and some of the way that Ray's been sort of memed is like undeserved in some cases. So anyway, the way that it happened for me is that after the event, what was it, Raleigh?
Yeah.
I couldn't go because I was sick. I just got back from Vegas. And, you know, the performance wasn't that great. And immediately, like, people started, as they do, they're like, well, what went wrong, and et cetera. I am a firm believer that players, and look, I'm not more qualified than any coach in Call of Duty to make these decisions or to have this thought, but Call of Duty is a momentum-based competition.
1,000,000%.
And the second that you sort of try to put somebody on a program, it either works or it doesn't work. And it clearly wasn't working for us.
It could go two ways. It could obviously work, because it does for some teams, but for other teams, it could just, like you just said, it could kind of just like make someone play, I don't want to say like a shell themselves, but you know what I mean? Like, you're just not playing to the best of your abilities, and it's going to show, especially against the best players in the world. Like, if you're at 80%, that's sometimes not even good enough. So
yeah. So one of the first things, you know, that you know, when I guess we'll talk. Ray is not our coach as of right now. He is on OpTic, and we're trying to figure out what it is. I'm a firm believer that he would be like a good educator of the masses. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody can be a professional. And by the time that you discover that you may have the ability to be a challengers, at that point, then you can go and be educated by someone else. But the path to pro currently doesn't exist in Call of Duty. It currently doesn't exist in Halo. Like, there isn't a program in which a high school kid can go to his mom and dad and be like, hey, I want to be a professional Call of Duty player or a professional Apex
player. So like, he'd
player.
have his own, like, path to pro. Is it kind of like a program where he teaches people how to play COD? Is that what it is?
Sort of.
I actually don't know.
Yeah. I mean, programs like that exist like everywhere. Like, if you go to Fiverr, as we just did a video with Seth, like, you can go to Fiverr and get coached by someone who's better at Call of Duty than you are. You know what I mean? And that's the sort of thing that people get, like, you know, people get other people to do. In cases like OpTic, like, programs like these are not just applicable to the normal people like me and Matt that play Call of Duty at a certain level. Like, this is like the opportunity for something like you and Formal and Scump and Shotzi to train people. Like, it goes beyond just like regular players. Like, if we wanted to, we can market that to NBA players. We can market that to NFL players, because those dudes are so down to be better at that, and they understand that program, because there is a path to pro in sports, right? You have your high school program, and then from high school you either go to junior college or you go to university, and in those universities they have coaches and assistant coaches and programs,
like individual, like
trainings.
100%.
And in Call of Duty they don't. So a situation in which, and I'm, you know, obviously we're still discussing this, but in a situation in which a coach like that can offer a class that is meaningful enough for regular people like me to improve my game, then that's applicable there. But you know, as we're going through this, like a lot of the stuff that I see personally, and again, I'm no one that's qualified, and I know that I'm saying this, but in my opinion, some of the times I would just, you know, most recently I told Shotzi, I'm like, you are an apex predator. Get out there and just shoot everything that you see and go with the flow of the game. You are that same sort of player. The in-game leader in Illy, like in some cases, that's almost all you need.
I'm 1,000,000% I'm on board, because Ender is like because anything else that's out of the game.
Who is that, Matt? Make sure there's no one back there with a shotgun or something. Oh, go on. It's Shaw.
Came out like slow and shit. Just made us question, or we're gonna die.
Yeah.
No, but even going back to talking about, like, Ender is just like, Call of Duty is just such an in the moment decision making game where you can't just look at a situation and be like, oh, we just saw this situation happen, or we always have to play it like this every single time. It's never gonna play out like that. It could, like, there's so many scenarios that could happen. This guy could be one shot. This guy could be reloading. This guy could be, you know, playing for a streak. This guy could be, you know, there's 2 people could be dead. And you know what I mean? There's so many spots where you can't really replicate the same scenario. So having an in-game leader like Ender to just make the right call in the situation is, I think, the most like valuable asset that you could have to a team, like improving and just going.
Yeah.
Even at tournaments, just pretty much like that like type of role is honestly, like,
yeah,
kind of need it.
One of the things that I think is currently wrong with the league is the fact that the league allows for coaches to be a part of the league, and they require for a coach to be there. So I'm the coach, right? In theory, right? If I want to, I mean, I mean,
you're undefeated.
If they require us to have coaches, then why not allow the coach to also be out there communicating with the team, having a 5th pair of eyes out there, right? If we're going to utilize coaches, let's utilize coaches, not because anybody can watch VOD and sort of dissect what the things that go on, but I think that you know, like in Halo, coaches are very important. You heard Matt say it a bunch of times, because that's a 5th pair of eyes that's out there, sort of determining the groove and the move of the game. So if Call of Duty's going to have coaches, then let's utilize the coaches the way a coach should be seen, right?
I think
basketball coaches can scream to their players. Right now, we have no communication when the game is on.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, it's as soon as the game stops, the only time you talk to him is obviously in between maps. But by then, it's just you're getting more information that is just in the past. You know what I mean? You're not getting any updated situations on, like, yo, like, they do like to do this. You know what I mean? Like on stage, for example, they like to play this like that, or blah blah blah. You know what I mean? And then you're like, well, if they don't do that, what do we do now? You know what I mean? Then at that point, it's just like this info is just like it hurt us, if anything. You know what I mean? But to go back to your point, like, in the NBA, like someone like Phil Jackson, for example, you think he's telling Jordan, like, oh, dude, like, you gotta, like, make sure you're, like, you know, pivoting left and crossover. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just telling, like, he's kind of just, like, making sure the mental of the team and the team camaraderie is on point. Like, just stuff like that. Like, the little stuff about, I don't know, like, keeping the team together is more important, I think, to what a coach should be doing, instead of doing more, like, the actual gameplay, or, you know what I mean? Like, the strategy of the game. That's just how I think. But, I mean, everyone's different, but
everyone is different. Again, different programs work for different people, and I felt like, you know, as this conversation started to happen, I felt that it wasn't. And again, this is not a reflection on Rambo as a coach and his knowledge of the game. This is more of like interpersonal relationship and what works and what doesn't work, right? Like, some people just I sometimes am impossible to work with, because when it comes to a creative decision, like, I don't let anybody else make it. It's like, it's always my call, and I don't care who I get into a fight with or an argument with. Like, we're gonna do it my way, because I feel like my decision as to how OpTic is ran is going to be better than somebody else's, because I am an expert in it. I've been doing it and nothing but doing it for 14 years plus.
and
so
you're keeping up with it.
Yeah. So obviously, like, as we sort of consider the approach and how we do things, you know, it's gonna be a work in progress, right? But as of right now, we are 2-0 since the change, since Who came in, since Seth retired, and you know, although some of the games are a little bit close, I do feel very confident in you guys' ability.
Yeah, like, so far, I mean, we played 2, I want to say, the top 4 teams in the league, and already beat them, and especially our S&D looks money. I mean, I kind of expected that to be our best game mode right away, just because us 4 as a team have so much chemistry just from playing like 4 or 5 years ago when we were all underage, or not all of us, but Ender was underage, and then me and Kyle would just play with them knowing they were going to be next up. And then I was like, bro, we gotta, like, if we just fix our HB, we're vibing type of thing. So we've been doing that in scrims. Our HB's been even against Toronto, like the next day we fixed a couple things and then boom, we went to HB. So, but we're not content, obviously. So we're just still putting our heads down, grinding. Inder's getting in Texas soon, so
He gets in tonight.
absolutely.
Yeah, when Seth obviously made his decision, this is how it was going down. And then obviously we'll talk about the conversation that when I called you or when I texted you and I'm like, yo, I got an update. But the way that this whole thing went down, it was in the span of like 3 days, right? We made our announcement. We talked about it. We talked about you on the podcast. You went on and you sort of said, I gotta.
Okay, no, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, please do.
Like on the podcast, like I remember I was streaming HECZ that night, and then I was like, "Yo," my streamer was like, "Yo, go check out the podcast." They're saying about. I'm like, whatever, like you know what I mean. Like I'm not thinking anything of it because there's so many people in the chat that just stretch things. They just want a reaction, like just for like clips and stuff. But I watched it back, and then I even say this, like why I got so mad, but I don't know, like it's just the reasoning, like with, and then I was just hearing Ray, like, can I even say this? Like,
yeah, go ahead.
But like Ray's like he's shooting up from his chair, and then like he's like making it seem like. I don't know. It was like the narrative that they were building was like, oh, we try to work it out. We like what we talked about the offseason was like, you know what I mean? It was just like,
well, I mean, some of it was true though.
some of it was true. Like, and that's why I did take accountability and in my stream saying like I was not the perfect team, but like I wanted to say like, dude, it was just something about like the vibe of specifically Ray. That's why I was just like, nah. Like something triggered me, and then I instantly went live, which was not a good idea. The more I think about it, because I was just talking of pure emotions, and I was obviously not. I was so hot that night, and then.
Well, the good thing is that you fed a bunch of people. A bunch of people got a chance to make videos on it, get paid for it.
Tactical Rap, he needs to. I'm gonna PayPal him, or I'm gonna give him my PayPal.
So you can PayPal you.
Absolutely, he needs. This guy, he's been milking me. He's been actually milking my shit. He's probably laughing about it right now. Actually, good for him though.
Yeah. Sorry. Continue.
No, but that was just pretty much it. Obviously, like
you went live.
Yeah, looking back at it, I probably wouldn't have went live. I probably would have like addressed it, but in a completely different manner. But
it did surprise me though that you had Crimsix up there.
Yeah, because he was in my stream trolling. He was like, "Yo," and I was like, and he was like asking to join. So I was like, "Okay," I invited him, and then he came in trolling. I'm like, "Dude, did you think
I don't have time?"
I'm like, and then he was like, "Oh," and then he realized that like, oh, like I wasn't like feeling it, and then he was just like, "Oh, I mean, no, like, dude, yeah, no, like I feel you, bro." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
So you and Crim cool or?
I mean, I've never really hated Crim. I mean, a lot of people thought we had this beef. I mean, obviously, Crim is just like he has like his opinions that are just like they're fucking out there. You know
very
what I mean?
polarizing.
Like,
Yep.
I'm like, cool. He called me like top 20 player. I'm like, this is like I beat you the last event. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's just like a petty like no. But like no, we're obviously cool. I mean, but yeah, I don't think it was anything. What were we talking about again?
Yeah.
Just lost my train of thought.
I was surprised that Crim came on.
Oh yeah. He just came out because I was like, oh, maybe he could give me some. Because I was like, oh, he was on the Empire team. He would have, you know what I mean, like some info on the situation. Maybe he could see my side of it. I'm pretty sure he went through something similar to me at least. At least that's what I thought. But
yeah,
he give me anything.
No. And you know, in situations like that, obviously people are gonna you know, try to talk about it as much as possible so that people can make videos. And again, I am a player of the game. I'm a student of the game. I am here for the game. I understand. Does it bother me sometimes with the titles? Sure. But I understand. Like, I'm here for it, right? Like, Big Timer says, I know what I signed up for, and every time the camera's on,
that's why I don't get mad when Tactical Rap, for example, he posting hella videos. I'm literally on every other thumbnail, but I'm not like, oh my God, why is it only me? I'm not like, you know, I'm not oblivious to the situation. I know what gets clicked. So, like, I'm just like, whatever. I just like, I know what exactly.
How do you feel about that?
That I'm always
not just you, but like OpTic in general, like the amount of usage, like the amount of milking.
It does.
Does it chafe a little?
Oh, it gets annoying, but like, but that's what I meant when you gotta like. There's a lot of good, but if that's considered bad, then I'll take it. You know what I mean? Like it's just people just consistently talking about you, so that's why you just have to watch out with how you like say stuff, and you know what I mean? Because people could just like try to twist like a lot of
1000%.
Staples. They just want drama.
Yeah. So obviously I get the call and they're like, "Hey, we're thinking of replacing Brandon." And I'm like, "Oh," in my head, I'm like, "Oh my God, again!"
Nah, yeah,
right. And by now, Seth had already told me he's like, "Yo, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore." And everyone, including you, everyone was telling this dude like, "Yo, whatever you gotta do it. But just like you know, let's figure out a way to do it the right way, right? Like no one's not gonna have your back, Seth, right? Like everyone understands like the work that you put in. Everybody understands that you paid your dues.
Yeah, 100%.
So. You know, at that moment when we finally, you know, we went through that entire week where we were trying to get Pred to sort of join us, and you know, we didn't know Kyler was available. Obviously, Kyler would have been a quicker choice for us as a business to make because one, he
was unrestricted.
unrestricted, and the amount of money that we were sort of negotiating with Serge for Pred was way up there.
Yeah, I heard they just kept going up and up and up.
Yeah, and look, whatever. It is what it is, and whatever money would have been, like I had my thing, right, and then we got to a number where I was like, okay, I am personally gonna put up a whole,
X amount. Yeah.
X amount.
It's a lot,
right? Over 6 figures. Okay,
we got to 6 personal. No company
out of these pockets. To sort of to get them on, and when we came to the final realization that it was just like not a thing, like I was just like, what the heck? And again, right, like I this isn't a call for anyone to say anything. Like I have full respect for every owner in the league and whatever. But if it would have been a thing where like if they said, hey man, Pred is important to us, we're never gonna let him go. Yeah. I would have been like, I would have understood. I am king understand.
100%.
I am king understand.
It was just more like why waste my time / hopes, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So anyway, when we got Kyler and we were sort of trying to get Pred and we weren't able to get Pred, I just thought to myself, I'm like, wait, first of all, Seth, why don't you just go ahead and go your way? Like, we're gonna support you. Everything's gonna be fine. People love you, man. They're not gonna hate you because you ran 100%. Out of gas. It's like you're frying. It's not about your skill. It's
people would understand right away.
Yeah, and sort of like with Formal, right? Like Formal is obviously really good at the game, but it was towards the end of his Call of Duty career where his drive for it was just like he lost passion for it, and you need passion to be able to become who you become.
100%.
So. In that moment, like I was like, I'm like, all right, cool. So he's gonna retire. We need to go get somebody else to replace him. And I slept on it. But as I was falling asleep, man, I couldn't stop thinking about the fact that it just didn't feel right that you were no longer gonna be on the team. It didn't fit my future vision of OpTic at all. So I went to sleep knowing that I went to sleep on my decision, which was to not let go of you. And how I was going to tell everybody, including Shotzi, including Illy, that I was not going to let you go. It's just not the way that it was going to go, right? Like Scump is retiring. Let's not rock the boat, is what my thought was.
Typical, by the way.
Yeah, because it had to do with you. So by this time, you and I had already texted about what your situation was. And I said, I'm like, there's a couple of conversations going on around you. Have you heard anything from any teams? And we both were like, all right, well, let's just figure out what it is. 2 days or a day goes by, though you and I didn't text, and then I text you, and I'm like, yo, call me later. I have an update for you. But first,
when you texted me that, I was like, oh no, like I'm not gonna lie, like I was thinking the worst because I was like, oh no, this might be the end right here. When you were like, I have an update for you, I was like, oh, am I gonna get like released? Or I was thinking like dark shit. I was like, this might be the end of the tunnel right here. And then like when you first
had you told your parents by that time?
About what my
did you talk to your parents at all about this?
No, I was telling my parents about like potential teams that were hitting me up, which was can I even talk about it? Does it matter?
Let's not.
Okay, yeah, okay. But I was just talking about them, and then they were like, okay, but then my mom kept asking. She was like, what about OpTic? I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, Mom. I think OpTic's just like. And then she was like, oh, like she was like, maybe talk to Hector. I'm like, I literally said, I'm like, Mom, like Hector, like I know like we all love him and everything, but like it's not his call. You know what I mean? Like so, but then she was just like I don't know. She had so much hope for it, though. Kind of like maybe my mom kind of.
She put her into the universe. Moms have powers, man.
Look, he did.
The universe often has and gives a mom the ability to say, "I told you so," right? A mom tells you a motherly instinct. It's something that you don't even have a choice but to respect.
Yeah, no.
And I'm not saying all moms, right? I'm sure there's like 3 out there that aren't great.
Yeah, 3.
But the majority of them. Like you just like a mother's intuition is there for a reason.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you hadn't told them, and
I was keeping them in the loop, but not too much. Like you know what I mean. I didn't have that much info as well.
Is that tough, right? Because they moms over worry about those smaller things.
So yeah, I don't want her to just like over. You know what I mean? Like just overthink and then just like over stress about something that's for me. I was like, okay, like it happened. You know what I mean? I was honestly moved on. I was like, we got to move on. You know what I mean? It's been 2-3 weeks. I was like. I'm not gonna just sit there and sobbing over. You know what I mean? Like I gotta eventually, just keep going. But then I just didn't want her to stress and just like over. You know what I mean? Just like.
What about Pops?
My dad's like pretty cool. Like he was like, oh really? Like he was like, oh it sucked. And then he was like talking to me for 5 minutes. But he's not one of those people to just like keep like you know what I mean? Like It's like, oh, it happened. Like, it sucks. Gives me advice, and then move on. You know what I mean? Like,
dads worry also.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they don't
Doesn't show it.
They just tell you what you need to hear in a moment, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
Right. So I talked to them. Right. I'm like, hey, this is what's up. Brandon is Brandon and the team. This is what's happening. He's missed blah 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 a couple of things, but not big. Talk to Shotzi. I'm like, hey, I thought about it overnight. I've thought about this, and I don't want to let go of Dashy. This is why. And then I explained to him, like, man, like it's as much as OpTic is our team, like I've never not made a decision surrounding what I believe that is what the crowd wants, right? And I don't ask the crowd what they want. I assume that I know what it is that they want, and so far, so good. So I'm like, man, it didn't sit well. So I talked to Shotzi. I'm like, check in with Illy. I'll call him later if I have to, but check in with Illy, please. His input's important. We didn't really talk to Hook. I talked to Ray after I talked to you guys. But when Shotzi was like, yeah, let's do that. Because you got to understand also, right? Like, how much longer could we have gone without a fourth, right?
Yeah.
And instead of just saying it's like, let's get any fourth, I thought to myself, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm like, these little ass kids, their decision making abilities,
make a multi-million-dollar decision.
Stop. These little ass kids' decisions stop here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make the decision
Yeah,
what's best for OpTic, and that comes with this. So I'm happy that Shotzi was mature enough for what it's worth. And I know that a lot of people get Shotzi a lot of not how do I say this? They tease Shotzi a lot for being a little bit of an airhead sometimes. Yeah. Dude's 19 years old. No, name. I mean, obviously besides me, name a fucking even Scump at 17, 18, 19. That dude was aloof all the time, right?
A lot of people give Ant like a lot of shit for, like you said, being an airhead, aloof or whatever. But I actually think that kid's really smart. He just doesn't know how to like articulate it. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's kind of like me in a way where it's he knows what is going on, what's happening. For example, in the game, like I think he's one of the smartest players, smartest COD minds that's ever played. But he just doesn't know how to not know. You know what I mean? But he just isn't as good now. He's definitely going to learn it for sure. But just like describing it, articulating, just going into details about stuff. But that kid's different. Yeah, and I was like, I wanted to make sure because I do believe that the next iteration, the next era of OpTic, post Scump, is going to be a meaningful one, right? Because we are going to rely on people like you, on people like Shotzi, Illy, Hook to sort of carry the torch that we had up until this point, right? Like it's an important one because what we're building here isn't like any other. I don't want to say any other team out there, but it's not like the majority of the teams out there. Like it's storied.
This is a family show that has been around for 14 years, and it's gonna be around for a long time. So if you're new to OpTic and you don't like Hector, sucks for you. You know what I mean?
You don't like the color green, then shit.
Yeah, it's shit out of luck. Pardon the interruption, but please allow me to tell you a little bit about Dadgrass, who is the sponsor of this podcast, right? And if you, like me, and again, this is for 18 and older, so please, if you're not of that age, please don't listen to this. But if you are, and you are interested in exploring alternative medicine and something that can maybe replace alcohol or any of those bad things, think about this, right? Because if you've ever been just too damn high, we've all been there. I certainly have. With today's weed, sometimes it's a dangerous game. Weed has become more potent because it is now more easily accessible for people to be able to grow as an artisanal, as a creative outlet almost, right? Green thumb people are going to create the best and strongest plants that they can, and as such, the potency of the plants becomes a little bit stronger. Well, with Dadgrass, you are reviving the pleasure of the casual smoke. So you can just chill without the stress of the paranoia, the stress of the overthinking. This just gets you just right. Because who doesn't like a trip down memory lane? Dadgrass takes you back to a time when music was on vinyl, hangouts meant actually hanging out, and weed didn't send you to the freaking moon. It's time to revive the pleasure of the casual smoke, and with Dadgrass, you are able to do that because Dadgrass is legal. It's organic, it's smokable hemp that relaxes your body and mellows your mind. Their 100% organic pre-roll joints are very low THC and high in CBD, so you can enjoy the effects of CBD while keeping a clear head. Want the toke without the smoke? Dadgrass has also CBD gummies made with the same high-quality hemp. They are easy to dose, and the effects come on super smooth. Chill out without getting stoned. It's like having a glass of wine without having the full bottle. All Dadgrass products are federally legal for ages 21 and over, and it ships right to your door anywhere in the United States. Whether you're looking for a new buzz or a chill way to enjoy an old favorite, Dadgrass will leave you in a euphoric mood. And right now, Dadgrass is offering our listeners 20% off of your first order when you go to dadgrass.com/HECZ with a 3, H3CZ. That is DADGRASS.com, H3CZ, for 20% off of your first order. That is dadgrass.com/HECZ. And I'll leave the link in the description down below to make it super easy for you to get there. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get back to the interview with Dashy. Lots of questions. So, all right, so I text you, right? After I talked to these dudes, I text you. I'm like, yo, I got an update. Give me a call. Where were you? Because it was like the middle of the day, so I didn't know.
It was like 9:30. I remember I was in the car driving, but I was like, I might have to pull over and take this call real quick. And then I was just like kind of getting ready, like I said, for the bad news. And then you hit me with the, HECZ retiring, and I was like, and then at first I was like, wait. And then you were like, how would you feel about coming back to the team? And then it was like all at once. I was like, wait, I'm getting back on the team. But then I was also like, wait, Seth's retiring. So I was like, it was like so many mixed emotions. I was like, damn, like I've been playing with Seth since it's like 2018, like we're in 2023 now, you know what I mean? It's been like almost 5 years. And then obviously we had the 1 year we didn't play with each other, and also like but I was also down to compete again. So I was like, oh, yo, I'm hyped, but I was like, I don't know. I was like, damn, I'm playing for Seth. So like, there was just so much shit. And then I was obviously down, you know what I mean? Cause like at the end of the day, like there's nothing more that I would want to compete for OpTic, you know what I mean? That was like, I was like, okay, 100% I'm down. But then we just went over like all the details of what was happening, and then like what to expect moving forward, and I was just down. But I was, at first it didn't hit me right away until maybe like a couple hours later where it really said, I'm like, damn, what the fuck, like this is really happening, like Seth is retiring. It's scum, bro. You know, at the end of the day, like I grew up watching this guy, like especially in ghost tourneys and all this, like there's so many, he has so many fans, but like even all like the pros playing, like we grew up watching this guy, and then to hear Scump's retiring is like, it's still crazy to me, to be honest. But I mean, he passed me the torch. So like,
yeah, he did, and he called you out on it.
He did.
He said, he said, I am stepping down so that you, Dashy.
Yeah, I get this tweet all the time. It's like, I'm falling so you could rise, some shit like that, right?
Yeah,
I'm like, damn.
And he said stepping down, right? So that you can rise down.
He did say that,
I don't know if he said falling.
I don't know.
Maybe he did. I don't know.
It might just gapped.
You know, that moment was very, very fucking emotional for everyone.
It must have been insane to be there in person.
Yeah. What did you think of the speech?
I mean, it was obviously a great speech, but it definitely hit me in the moment, because then obviously like he's calling me up, so like the first time you're hearing it is, it felt like I was there. Like it hit me as if he was really like literally talking to me one-on-one. You know what I mean? Like no one else there, but definitely hit. I mean, it's still kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah. When you were doing your video and Krim was there, you're like, I remember that party where he was just fucking chewing your ear out.
Yeah, no, that was OD.
But when you're like, Seth was blackout drunk, and I was like, yeah, he was. I mean, we were. I was
buzzed. Yeah.
So I'm like, I hope that people didn't take that the wrong way, but I'm like, it's a party, like everybody, who does it, and whatever.
I wasn't even mad at it.
I know. But I just, one of those things that I was listening to that, I'm like, people might take this the wrong way or whatever. So because I don't worry, but I make mental notes of what pitfalls I might run into or what was said, etc.
Yeah, what could stem something.
Yeah. So when I called you and you said, fuck yeah, man, I don't want to play for anybody else besides OpTic, that, and we can figure it out. I'm sure that we can work things out. And then I was like, all right, cool. All right, stand still. I'm gonna go call Shotzi, tell him, give him the update that you're on board, and then we're gonna figure out what to do with how we tell Ray, etc. Because I wanted to make sure that everybody understood that this is like an important move for OpTic, right? Like this is post scump, so we got to make sure that everything is done right. Period.
Because if Seth's retiring, then we can't be trolling with it. You know what I mean? Like essentially, like gotta make sure that we do it right.
Yeah. So we go through it. I talk to him and I'm like, all right. He's like, when can I call him? And I'm like, call him right away. Make sure that Ailey's on the call. Don't tell Hook until tomorrow. Let's get the trio set and in stone to make sure that everything's under understanding. What did he tell you in that call? Because I don't remember. I wasn't part of it.
So Ann was the first one to call me, and Ann's actually the man. I first, especially with hearing like on like public rumors and stuff, like you would think that Ann was behind me getting dropped, but he was actually like the one that was, you know what I mean, out of I think everyone on the former like just the whole team, like with Ray, Seth, and I don't know if Ender had any input, but just with me getting dropped, he was like, bro, honestly, I didn't even want you dropped. I was just like, they were just talking about it, and then I don't know who brought up the idea, and then they were all down with it, so I wasn't gonna be the one that, you know what I mean, he wasn't just gonna be the one that just,
of course.
So then I was like, oh shit, like damn, like, and then from then I was like, oh, hey, he was always a good guy, you know what I mean? Like, but
well, I mean, he did have his part in
obviously,
it too,
yeah.
right?
Like he wasn't like oh no, like, and then he wasn't like nah, like, you know what I mean? Like
because
he
I
definitely co-signed it
because the decision was so serious that we were prepared to well, they were prepared, and I mean, I guess we were prepared to bench you without a prospect of a replacement.
That's insane. I'm like, what the
right?
fuck?
Exactly. So there was definitely something serious there, or serious enough that would happen, and it may have been, the fact that we just lost and we had a bad placing.
I think it may have
been a million fucking things. So
can I give my reasoning on that? Yeah. I actually do think that we did make a decision in like the heat of the moment, because I think I was benched literally the hour after we lost. Of course, the hour we lost, like emotions are high. Like we're literally at the tournament. You know what I mean? We're seeing all the tweets and all this stuff that we didn't even make it out of groups and all this shit. And then of course, we're not thinking like, oh no, we're good. We'll be like, everyone's thinking worst case scenario. You know what I mean? And then an hour later, I texted the group chat just about I texted Ann actually. I was like, because we were talking about a specific play on a map, and I was like, yo, did I troll that? Because I actually didn't know if I did something wrong. Because genuinely in the moment, I actually thought I was making a good play, but then he didn't respond an hour later. So I'm like, oh, dude, like I'm already plotting. Because then this is why like I also went on the rant on my stream. I talked about how after we lost, like again with Ray, like we went back and then kind of like how I felt like he kind of divided the team just because we lost an hour later. I'm not even like they're the group of three, and then it's me and Ender. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you don't do that to a team. You know what I mean? Like, obviously we lost. Like, it sucks. Like, we won. All of us are trying to win. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. I felt like there were certain things that I didn't fuck with at all. Like the way it was just like being handled. So that's why I was just like, that's why I kind of tweaked out. But obviously, like I'm looking back at it, I wish I didn't do that and did it another way.
At the end of the day. And when people was like, how come you're not more mad at this? Or how come I was like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like it literally is something that if you feel it, like I don't want anybody to fucking hide shit about OpTic ever, right? Like
it wasn't OpTic though.
I know. Yeah. But still, like I don't want anybody to ever feel like I'm gonna be mad if they speak their opinion on things. Yeah. And if I do feel a certain way, then I am personally gonna call that person and talk it out. Like even after it's said.
Yeah.
So they called you. He said that, and then what else?
Or what
the phone call from Ann to you?
Oh,
after
yeah,
he told
and
you,
then he was like, we talked for like 40 minutes, and he was just saying like, okay, yeah, like obviously, like we're down, like we're all on board, we're down, but he's like, make sure to talk to Ender, because I talked to him first, and then I had to talk to Ender. Like I wanted to talk to them both one-on-one,
yeah.
But then Ann was like, make sure you do it tonight, and then I talked to Ender, and then same thing with Ender, another 45-minute call, and then we just addressed everything. Ender had his things that, for me, he was like, okay, just like, because little things I didn't realize, you know what I mean, like subconsciously that he was thinking that I would be doing, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. He's like, okay, you could definitely fix this. I was like, oh, okay, my bad. I didn't even know that this could be affecting, you know what I mean, something on his end. So I was like, bet. Like, I just took those, and then obviously Kyler's the man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like I had to talk to Kyle. He's just pure vibes. So
say less.
Yeah, say less. No, Kyler's the man. Kyler's the man. But we've been vibing ever since.
Yeah. All right. So obviously, as you go through this thing, the following day I went to breakfast with Ray and I explained to him the situation. And the first thing that I told him, I'm like, hey, look, in the beginning of all this is going to seem like everything's against you, but please know and understand that you have like not only my full confidence as a coach, but in some cases it just doesn't work out the way that it is, right? And because of it, and I told you that too. I'm like, you and him may not see eye to eye on a lot of things, but you both are wearing chains, and in my world, if you're wearing that, like, you have to respect each other no matter what. Yeah. So, you know, whatever happens in the near future, you know, with you guys' relationship or lack thereof, like, I'm not gonna force any of that, right? Like, it is what it is, and people should understand that it's not you. If they pick you, that they have to hate him, and because that's not gonna work it out.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like he's on like my side or his side. You know what I mean? It's not like a
like you're both an OpTic. And I can't have two people in chains not liking each other. That's not OpTic, right?
Yeah, and it's not like Ray wasn't trying to win either. You know?
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. And it's not, again, it wasn't his style of coaching, and it was just like, it has nothing to do with anything besides. I can't even explain it. I know that people out there's this one person who the second they say something, it's just like you can't help but like sort of disagree in that, and it sucks because put in a situation where he didn't have to coach, and when you lose, I'm assuming, right? Because I don't lose. I'm kidding. When you lose, I've lost plenty. But when you lose, like, emotions run high, and there's nothing that you can do besides say, all right, I did this, but who else fucked up? Yeah. And when you start to see who everyone is, and he's also a part of the team, and JP is also, but Sender was a part of the team, like, you tend to sort of like harp on people's demeanor, the way they said things, the way they approach certain things.
Just and the little stuff that you didn't even think piss you off.
Yeah, but they do, right? And until you identify it and focus on it, hyper-focus on it to just try to fix, like, is that. So, you know, more than anything, and what I told you and what I told him is that I don't want this thing to be one of those situations in which, like, this dude who's a good fucking person, you know, takes the fall for something that is just interpersonal shit, right? So, all right, so we made the change. You come back. Seth retires. You see the speech that he did, and obviously him saying the things that he said. You know, obviously, like, he puts a lot of trust in you into carrying this team forward, because you. How old are you in comparison to the rest? Like,
23. Me and Kyle are both 99s, and then the other two are both 02s.
02. So what's that age difference? Like 3 or 4?
Yeah, they're 02s.
Yeah, it's like, you know, Seth retiring put a lot of pressure on the entire team, but more on you because he called you out personally.
He did.
I called you out personally to your parents and to you.
Yeah.
And, you know, as the mature OpTic senior on the team, like, this is now your team, right? Like, this is now something that you have to
so that's what I was like,
have to carry and guide, dude.
That's why, like, when I saw Seth's, like, because some people were like, oh, like, he called you out. I'm like, nah, I looked at it a different way. I'm like, if it's anything, it's like an honor, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
In his retirement speech, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He, like, basically passed me the torch, you know what I mean?
Exactly, pass you the torch.
Obviously, like, people are like, oh, like, I'm like, bro, like, you're looking at it, like, a completely different perspective, but
I'm glad that he added that pressure on you, though.
100%,
I'm so happy
100%.
that he did.
I'm glad he did, too, to be honest.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was just, like, a low-key, like, a, you know what I mean? Like,
no,
I don't want to say like I wouldn't have slacked off, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah. No, I do.
That extra, like, I guess, fire.
That whole speech was a blur to me, because I was right there, and the first second that he choked up, I was like,
oh no, you're like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, I was like, no, and then I look around, and then obviously Ann, who looks up to Seth, and
like right next to Matt was there too.
Yeah, everybody was there, man. Like, it's obviously you guys were already back home chilling the way Ender was. And, you know, in retrospect, I do think that we should have called Krim for him to be a part of that part of that night also. And you know what? It wasn't anything surrounding us thinking that he may have leaked shit or not. It was nothing like that. Like, we know that he, as much as he is who he is, like, I personally know that he would never do that, because no matter how he seems to other people, like, I know that
he does that, he's cut off from,
no,
like,
yeah, exactly, and he wouldn't, right? Like, I've always held Krim in high regard and everything, and I judge harshly just anybody that's ever been an OpTic. Like, I make it a point to be as tough on them that I believe that I need to be just for that. So, like, when I've never had an issue with Krim ever, you know what I mean? Like, he's always been one of my favorite people. How can he not be one of my favorite players that's ever played for OpTic, right? Like, how can he not? He's one of 4 up there, right?
Yeah, like, I don't know, he's got some
he's got his own fucking statue up there. And I know that people are gonna be like, oh, he's dapping him up because he's making room for him. I'm like, it's that doesn't, it's just like not in the cards, you know what I mean? So I wanna talk to you about what you foresee the future to be like. How do you feel the team currently is, and what sort of improvements do you think are needed in order for this thing to become, like. And again, everyone here understands, if not now more than ever, understand the sort of pressure that the whole team is under, right? Like Seth left a good legacy for people to carry, and I don't, with your skill, with Shotzi's skill, with obviously Illy, not just his mental skill, but the motherfucker's been going fucking off.
Oh no, Ender's been frying this stage for sure.
Do you think that he has in his head something to prove because of the way
100%.
that the year went last year?
100%. I mean, especially with Ender. I mean, he's just ready to compete again because obviously, like I can only imagine getting out because of an injury. It's so rare in esports that a player misses time, like especially for like 2-3 months, and then comes back but you only have a month to play, and then I don't know, like for me, like I could tell like Ender's just like looking at it differently this year. Like he's just more hungry, if anything. So
Yeah.
I mean, we're all like hungry as fuck, to be honest, to win, just because like we all haven't. Even Kyler, like coming in from his old team, he got dropped, stuff like that. So we all have something to prove, like individually and as a team. So
Yeah. How do you think Hook's done so far?
Kyler's nasty, bro.
Yeah?
Kyler's nasty for sure. And you could tell that Zio, that trio, kind of I don't want to say need each other, but when they're all three with each other, it's like they're all playing at their best ability. Not because they're setting each other up on the map, but it's like the confidence and trust that they have within each other. I mean, they won champs together. You know what I mean? If I won champs with like 2 other players and I knew they were like a huge part of, you know what I'm saying, of our success, and I would probably be the same way. But you could just tell like they have a different trust, different like just their flows on the map. They're all just playing at their A game, really. And I'm just like, bet I'll be the AR. I'll just chow, you know what I mean? And just make sure that I'm on point, basically.
Yeah, I think not overthinking the game is what young people like need. And and I'll keep bringing it back to Rambo, but like, Seth, even in his retirement speech, says like, yo, I'm here because you put me under your wing and you taught me things. But there is something to be said about the fact that when Seth was young, we didn't have a coach and we let him fucking fly.
You let that guy go, bro.
And to not allow your level of skill and Shotzi's level of skill and Hook's level of skill, and obviously Ender, I always put Ender on a separate sort of platform because he deserves to be looked at as a different player because he's not
got
just
the brains.
He's not just playing. He's strategizing in the moment, instantly.
We're like chess pieces to Ender, you know what I mean? And then he's like I'll put Shotzi's the queen, like he could do anything on the board, you know what I mean? And then where I'm like a bishop, like diagonal AR chess.
Yeah. That's good.
Kyler's just like, I don't know, like whatever the one that just zips across. Like, what is that called?
The queen or the tower, the knight?
No. There's knight, and then there's 2 of them. There's like a pillar, and then you could go only vertically and then horizontally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the both sisters are not gonna enjoy this fucking podcast.
Yeah, never mind. I'm just joking.
I'm
just joking.
I used to play so much chess in high school. Obviously, being a mega fan of Wu-Tang, the mystery chess boxing. Like we always made a point that to play chess, but I haven't played in a while. I was asking like what are some of the things that you're looking to improve on the team, or like what are some of the conversations what have the conversations been like? What is the coaching process now like? What is JP handling? What are you guys asking him, and how does it translate into the game?
Yeah, I'll just talk on the coaching, just because I mean that's obviously what people are I guess wanting to know, like just updates about how we were doing things. But JP's the man. I mean, he's got all, like he's just a stats guru, stats wizard or whatever, but he's got like all the analytical side of like our maps, like our win percentages on each side that we spawn in.
Does that help?
Fuck yeah, it does, because then you can definitely see like, okay, wait, we're on P2s, like we're not overthinking it, but it's like if it's something that's like glaring, like like 20, we only win this, like we're the best P4, P5 team in the game, but P6 we're only winning it 15% of the time. Like 15%, we're obviously doing something wrong. Then we'll look at it like, oh yeah, we're trolling here, you know what I mean? Like, but it's not like it's like he'll say like the numbers, and then we'll come up as a team, like players be like, yo, like Shots will be like, yo, like when you could play like this and blah blah blah, and then Ender will be like, oh yeah, I could help you here, and then Kyler's like, okay, I'll do this, you know what I mean? It's kind of like more, I guess it's like I mean obviously like we're making it like the players are saying more, I guess, on like the improvement side of the things, but that's kind of like how it should be in my opinion. But I mean we've been fine, to be honest. So I mean everyone is just just doing their 25% basically, or 20% if including JP. But
Yeah. As obviously today you had practice, right? You had practice from 12 to 2.
yeah, we usually play at 1, but we played at 12 today because Ender had to fly in, so we hit up Seattle, the team we were scrimming.
So you guys even got a scrim in, even though
just to
you
make sure you're going in.
Yeah, that's fucking sick.
Yeah.
And then Ender gets in tonight at around 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
We fly to Boston next week.
Yes.
How do you think the watch party has gone? Is that a distraction to you guys or?
Oh, not like it has been a distraction, but just seeing it, especially the numbers after we'll be watching, like you'll see like 90K. Like the first stream, remember against Seattle, I was like, damn, I'm like almost 100K. I was like, then you just like, I don't know, like you could just tell like actually I was gonna say something I shouldn't have said about fucking where was I going with that? But yeah, no, like Seth's killing it. He's killing it.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Are you surprised?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I remember in BO4 actually fucking we were playing at 2K at the beginning of the game. It was our first 2K of the year, our first 5v5 team, and Seth had like 100 some K viewers.
Right down there.
Literally. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like,
before we had couches, before we had decorations, before
dude, that was crazy.
Yeah.
For an online 2K tournament.
For an online 2K tournament. It was the first one.
Yeah.
Right? And he broke 100. It was during Ninja heyday too, right? Like it was during the Ninja Power.
Ninja hosted, but it was only hosted for like 15K viewers when he was already at like
90.
He was gonna get 100. You know?
Yeah. He was gonna break 100 for sure. But you know, it didn't surprise me. It surprised I was talking to one of the investors and he's like, man, I did not know it was gonna be like that. And I'm like, are you surprised? I was like, no, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
This kid's got the magic. Speaking of the kid, he's calling, but I'll call him back. Dude, I'm happy that you're back. I'm hoping that you know that you grow from this last moment into the leader that we need you to be.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because you know it's always up to the old heads to keep everything in line. And sorry to say that, but you are the old head. You know?
So I have to start acting like it. Basically, like again, we're getting to the like nearing the end of the podcast. We got to say it again. With great power comes great responsibility.
Great responsibility, yeah. Because you're not just you're no longer just living for yourself. Now you have a team of young, cracked futures, including yours, because you're still mega young.
I gotta be formal.
To get to where you got to become the formal dude. And I think you were born to be this. So it's just a matter of allowing yourself the same way the same way that you tell yourself, I just got to chow shit, is the same sort of confidence that you're gonna need in order to take this team to where it needs to go for the next 10 years. Like,
I'm down.
Yeah.
10 years. Whoa.
33.
Damn.
And you know what? A blink of an eye.
Honestly, yeah. Like
I'm about to be 43 next week.
I might blink and then 28 and then blink again, and it's just like, holy, like I'm crying on my own retirement speech thing.
Yeah.
And I'm passing the torch on to some kid that's insane. Or maybe it's like, I don't know, like maybe 6 years from now, if we're still a team, then that's like, I think that'd be impressive.
If I have it my way, you guys will. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate everyone. Thank you for Dadgrass for sponsoring the podcast. And I hope to see you guys next week with another Eavesdrop podcast. We got Seth, we got Hook, still have to do one with Hook, so looking forward to it. Anyway, link in the description down below for Dadgrass if you are into that stuff. If not, make sure to follow. I'm always at 1 million subs. I would make the case, if I may, right now. We are going to be out of the Hex quarters by November. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, please allow me to have a gold plaque in that square where I made it.
It's way too legendary.
If there was ever a time for you to subscribe to a channel, it is right now. Please help me get to 1 million subs so I can put the gold button up there.
I'm guaranteed. It's like, look, like you already have it, 1 million. Like you have it.
Well, yeah,
set in stone.
I wrote there 1 million gold button, and I framed it because that's where it was gonna go. So it's
so close.
And I know that I'm not the most consistent content creator, but please believe that it's not by choice. If I could, this would be the only thing that I would do. But with great power comes great responsibility, and I have people to guide through this crazy, crazy world of ours. So if you haven't subscribed, please, I beg you, please lend me a sub. And if you have friends that have a YouTube channel, tell them to sub also.
You have a second channel. You know what I mean? You have a second channel too. Just
yeah.
Maybe they got a personal and a business, you know?
You never know. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. How's that one, Maddie?
That was good.
Really good. You like that call out in the end? You think we'll get 1 million?